Welcome to the Playbill and Playbook. This is Leanna Butte, where every play is performance. Today we're talking about the Super Bowl. The Chiefs did not get a three-peat, and I am very excited about that. I do not like the Chiefs. I'm a Bills fan, so it hurt to see them win against the Bills once again, 4 out of 5 years. But to see the Chiefs destroyed was good TV. See the Eagles literally demolish the Chiefs offense. Mahomes with 5+ sacks, 4+ interceptions, and they just didn't have it at all. Their defense wasn't able to keep the Eagles, and the Chiefs offense was not able to score points. And that was just brilliant for Hurts, because for him to have a conversation every year, why doesn't he throw more? Is he really a good quarterback? Was that the right pick for the Eagles? And he showed it, even the game against the Commanders. In this game, he is the right guy for the Eagles. He brought them to a championship. And it was just brilliant to see a lot of young guys in their defensive line make interceptions and have a pick six. And he was the first player from since 1947 to have a pick six on his birthday. So happy belated birthday. It was just exciting to see the whole country, in a sense, root for the Eagles, while a lot of New Yorkers are full Giants or Jet fans and will not root for the Eagles. But for a certain reason, this was like the year no one wanted the Chiefs to get a repeat. And the Chiefs became the team that everyone wanted to hate. Just because of, in reality, it just felt like they were handed a lot of these wins this season. But on the high note, I'm very happy for the Eagles. Congratulations to all their fans. And I'm very happy to not have to see the Chiefs on top. Now let me talk about what is coming in the next few weeks, spring training. And I cannot wait to see the Yankees start spring training. And right now, I believe the team could become a champion, but they still need at least one more bench player or third baseman, second baseman. I don't love Nolan Arenado, but that would be the right move. You have a veteran at third who still could hit for power. He had a down year last year, but he could defend for you, Gold Glove, and that's what we need. And then if you trade Stroman, you could get Nolan or someone else, even Luis Arraez. And that would be a great trade because you're trading. You have enough debt with the signing of Max Fried to be able to do that and lose one pitcher for a hitter. And right now the Yankees need more hitting than pitching because right now they're stacked from starting to bullpen. And the best, I think, off-season move was the Cody Bellinger move because now you have so many. He gives you depth in outfield and infield. And on days that you want to bench Goldsmith or take a day from Judge, let him be a DH, you could slide him to right, and you could put Dominguez back to center. And you could put Cabrera at left and play DJ or whoever at third for that one day. You have so many more options. And that's something I love about this year. Last year, we were lacking defense. You could see it, Dodgers World Series. The Yankees could not defend for the life of them. And that is the reason they lost. And it was heartbreaking to watch. That game in New York, when that inning just exploded, where they could not field at all. And as a fan who has not seen a World Series team since I was 9 years old, that was heartbreaking to watch. Their season end in a heartbreak loss that they should have won while they had their ace on the mound. And that was heartbreaking. And this offseason, they changed what they needed to change. I understand how much Soto really is offensively, but I think getting Bellinger, bringing him in, helps them defensively so much better. And that's game one. They lose game one because of literally a cutoff that Soto couldn't get to. Glaber didn't get it, and that the tying run scores. And it's just all the fundamentals that I know as playing softball as a kid, they did not do all season. It was missed cutoffs, miss just mental errors that should not be happening to a professional player or team constantly. And by increasing their defense this year and athleticism helps them now compete in ways that they didn't. Now they have multiple players who can steal bases, and they have multiple players who know how to run the bases well, which they did not know how to do last season at all. And now you have a defensive team that literally could increase their amount of assists this season. And it's exciting to see Cody Mellinger, who comes from a world champion organization with the Cubs and playing for the Dodgers. And then you Paul Goldschmidt, who is a former MVP. And then you have Devin Williams, who at there's an argument. He's one of the best closers in the league. And we're getting him on a great trade. We didn't have to lose too much for him, and the same thing with Bellinger. And I am looking forward to seeing how the bullpen gel, because last year Luke Weaver became the ace and became what the Yankees needed when Clay Holmes couldn't shut it down. And that was an amazing story to see a guy who was on waivers, who was traded, and to rebuild his career with the Yankees as their closer. And right now he's their setup man. But to have that hero moment, storyline moment in his now veteran career, but with the Yankees, and to be loved by the fan base, and to be the one that they trusted in those late innings and closing important games for them in the playoffs. He got everything he needed. He got the support, and he was able to do it. And that's not easy playing for the Yankees, because the fan base, tell the truth, we could be vicious to players who do not know how to play New York. We literally we really made Gallo's life hell in New York because of his bad offense. And I felt for him because he tried his best to do something in New York. He just couldn't. And I'm hoping this year we see something different than we did in the prior years. Past years, they've been able to win, make the playoffs, make the championships. And this year, yes, the World Series. But they were not able to do the fundamentals, base running, cutoffs. And it's been their issues the past few years. That's been their tells that they're not athletic enough, and they're just making mental errors that they should not be making. And I will start to enjoy the game again more because I have so much more love for the basics. You know, Bellinger's going to catch the ball. He's going to hit the cutoff in. You know, Pulse gets Goldsmith is going to be able to defend first. And you don't even need him to be his MVP version. Just if he hits this literally average, that is better than we had the past year for first base. And then you have so many young rookies with Austin Wells coming off a great rookie season. Jason Mingus, we're going to finally see him in a full year. And when he first came up, he hit, was it 5 home runs in 7 games? And then he got hurt. And this year he was on and off the team, so we really didn't get to see him. And then you have the young catcher, first baseman Ben Rice, who was great the first few games he was up, and then had a cold streak towards the end of his season. But you could see so many more spotlights, and you could see the Yankees are now in the point of, instead of just depending on hitting the ball hard, they have they're depending on the little things. And we haven't seen that really play out in the past few years because most of the players on the team, except for, I'll say, Rizzo in the past, and I'll give Judge credit, but a lot of the infielders have made mistakes. Mistakes that cost them games, cost them the World Series in this case. And at this point, you can't really waste your time on not doing the fundamentals. Aaron Judge and Garrett Cole are still in their prime, and you want to win now more than anything. You do not want to have Aaron Judge be the captain of the Yankees and be literally the only one next to Don Mattingly to not win a title with his under his leadership. And that is not something that I want to see or the Yankees fans want to see. We want to see him be a champion because he deserves it. And you've seen it time after time after they lose. He will answer every question. And you could see the emotion he has for playing for the Yankees and just how much it hurts him when they lose. And he is full and full the captain of the team with the heart and the soul, and he carries that team. And I give him a lot of credit for the criticism he gets in the playoffs because he has not done well in the playoffs. But for him to go out every day and just talk about he needs to change little things, or he'll try to fix his swing, or just if he's not playing great offensively, he'll work on his defense and he'll make brilliant plays. He will always try to get the Yankees the win, no matter how he is doing offensively, defensively. He wants the Yankees to get back on top. And I'm looking forward to seeing this team gel because right now it looks like they will make it and they have a clear path right now because the American League does not look as scary as it did. And don't get me wrong, they had an easy path last season, make it into the World Series. They had to go through the American League Central. And that division isn't easy to say, but I think this year might be a little bit more difficult because they did it. Tigers, Twins, and other Tiger Twins and the Royals add pieces, but I still think the Yankees could overpass Central League. And the West has not really got that better. And except for maybe right now the Red Sox and maybe the Blue Jays, I think the Yankees won the division. I think Baltimore got worse. I think the Rays got worse. And I think right now the Yankees are the team to beat in the American League. But that all has to do on them because they have all the pieces to make it, but can they actually make it? That's the big question. And will they be able to stay healthy? And that's been a question for every year, for every single player. Because when Judge is healthy, he could carry his team to the World Series. We've seen it this year. We've seen it when he hit 62 home runs. He carried the full team. And every MVP year, he has been their best player. And now he actually has more weapons with a Cody Bellinger instead of just the Aaron Judge show. And with a healthy Giancarlo Stanton, you could see how much he makes a difference if he stays healthy. He carried the full team, making it into the World Series. He is the reason they ended up so far. Giancarlo Stanton. Yes, Soto hits the game winner home run against Cleveland, but Stan is the one who carried them through the whole playoffs, hitting when they needed him to. And yes, he can't run anymore, but as long as he could hit and he could keep in literally just have hot streaks and just be able to give them something, the team's going far. And now you see maybe Wells is now their number 3 on their roster right now of young kids who are coming up and, finally being what the baby bombers are supposed to be. Maybe Volpe's 3rd year is gonna be better than his past 2 years. Maybe his offense finally gets to the point that he needs to. And now we get to see all young rookies that we haven't been able to see produce. Like now, Lewis Hill is finally getting the full time of being a starter and getting the rookie of the year. That was a great storyline for the Yankees to have him rookie of the year and for him to be the guy who had to come in when Garrett Cole got hurt and for him to be their ace in the beginning of the season and for him to start a playoff game in his young career. And then even Clark Smith is still young. For him to have a brilliant game in the playoffs and be able to play for the team and show a lot of heart and be able to go deeper. And that was the criticism by all journalists was that he wasn't able to go past 6 innings. And now that he's able to, now you have multiple pitchers that can go more and you have less time that you have to actually get more outs from the bullpen. So the bullpen has more of a relaxed space of being able to just have to get in a certain amount of outs. It's not you're able to time manage them. And that's my favorite part about it. Because you have Tim Hill who was brilliant in the playoffs. He was their number 1 left-hander. He should have pitched game 1 instead of Cortez. That was the wrong move. I don't understand why you put Cortez, who hasn't pitched in a while, instead of Tim Hill. But I'm happy he's back because he was brilliant in the playoffs and then his entire tenure this year with the Yankees. He was one of their best pitchers. And then you have Mark Leiter Jr., who I think might make the roster because he wasn't able to prove himself during the season. But in the playoffs, when his name was called, he got those big outs. And that was something to mention that maybe give him a chance. And then you have Ian Hamilton, who got hurt down the road, but he was a great pickup. And he's been great for us the past few years. And now you have so many young players that, like a clean beater, who has a chance to make in the roster as a relief pitcher. Will Warren will get a chance eventually again. And maybe it wasn't just a fluke. Maybe it was just the way that he was pitching. And it's just exciting to see that in the Yankees' depth in their pitching, there's so many good guys who are getting the chance to get their turn. And it's so nice to see so many kids my age playing baseball for their favorite team or for the Yankees in this case and wanting to win. And it's great for me to feel like I have a connection to them because we're similar in age, that I could get to grow up with these players. I get to enjoy the time that they're on the Yankees with my family and feel like I'm a part of it. And I think it's different because for the dynasty, for the 90s, I was not born until 2000. So I never got to experience the core 4 at their greatest. And I think now that Judge finally has more than one piece, he's finally able to get maybe a core of young players like Wells, Dominguez, Hill, and then he has the veteran presence of a Garrett Cole, a Rodon, a Fried, Stanton, Goldsmith, Bellinger. He has that group of guys who could help him make it all the way to the World Series and winning. And I think the mix of young and veteran helps the young guys so much because now you have so much more to bring to help the younger players get to their highs. and deal with the lows of the season because there are highs and lows in the season. And I'm excited to see what Paul Goldsmith does for Ben Rice on his mentorship. And I'm looking forward to seeing the mentorship for Cody Bellinger and Jason Dominguez. I'm excited to see how these young guys do in big situations because these are their first few years. This is we're just getting a taste of them, and I am looking forward to seeing them throughout their whole career and hopefully in the Yankees pinstripes. But I am enjoying just seeing how the off season went. And Soto, it hurt. It hurt. It really did. But he left and we had to pivot. And we pivoted right. We pivoted where we needed to. We pivoted defense over offense, and it's okay right now because I believe between Bellinger, Goldsmith, and saying we pick up another third baseman or second baseman, they're not going to fill the void of Soto in the offense, but they're definitely going to help us defensively and definitely with base running. So we're going to have a higher chance. We're going to have better base running, better defense, and defense wins games. It does. Good defense wins. And that is one thing that I'm just excited to see is when you see the big three in reality, Judge, Judge, Bellinger, and Dominguez. I'm looking forward to seeing them in the outfield for the first time and seeing the chemistry once they win a game because that is what makes teams work, chemistry. And right now, it looks like some of the players are ready. And uh, pitchers and catchers are supposed to go to Tampa, a lot of team players are already in Tampa practicing. Judge usually goes ahead of time anyway, but it is nice to see that the players start training earlier, and you could see it. The chemistry starts before spring training, and we've seen that last year with multiple players joining Judge before their call date for Tampa. And you could see it just from when they're talking about each other, like with the media. Like Bellinger talking about players who contacted him, Fried talking about players that contacted him. Devin Williams talked about the Aaron Judge and the players who texted him after he was traded. And just the way that you could see that Aaron Judge and Garrett Cole is part of not just on the field, they're part of the process of getting people. They have more of a say, and that's great to see that Garrett Cole is wanting someone, or Aaron Judge is pulling for someone, and they have the owner, and they're listening to them, and that I think is a special connection between those two individuals. Have the owner's ear, and to have a good relationship with the owner, to be able to say, "We need this, we need that," and for the owner to tell them, "Okay, I'll try to help you in this way and or that way." And I think it's just like I'm just happy that at this point, it does not look like Hal is just pivoting to the cheaper option, which he has done in the past. How many? 10, maybe 5 plus years. And to say the truth, they haven't gotten a true left fielder since Brett Gardner retired. And everyone they've thrown at left, and I'm not working that well. And right now, they don't really have a third baseman other than maybe a platoon between LeMahieu, Oswaldo, and maybe Peraza. And Peraza has to be in the roster because he has no options left. And unless you want to put him as your extra infielder, he might be the one you trade for another piece. And he still has value. He's still a young player. He just not has not been able to be pulled back up because Anthony Volpe won the job, and they did not have the need for an infielder. They had the need for an outfielder. And I feel for the kid because he was great his first few games he did play for New York. But he lost the job to Anthony Volpe, and that's just tough. And since then, he has not been able to be consistently being able to be called back to the big leagues and be able to perform for them. And I feel for the kid. I do. But I'm excited because now you have another player that could even be the mix for the bench, another young guy. And he plays the game right. He does all the fundamentals. He runs the bases well. He defends well. And if you are able to get a young core of young core to just do the fundamentals, base running, catching, throwing, just doing every little thing right that they have to, then you have a good set of standards for all the younger players when they finally get to the big league. They already know the fundamentals. They're ready to do the right thing and to play baseball and to perform in a perform well because they know the fundamentals. They know to run out the ball. They know to catch a ball. They know how to run out. They know who to cut to. They know just the little things that has to do with just playing the game. And if you have that, and then you have the veteran presence, that helps the team even more. Because now you have a team that altogether is doing the fundamentals that has to happen for teams to win. And it is sad to say. Last year, that was not true. You could see multiple players not running at the ball. Yes, I understand it's a ground out, but you should run it out. There was not a lot of players who ran it out. And there was a point that if John Crostan was a little bit faster, he would have beat it out. And it's just those plays that you're not hitting the cutoff man. You're getting outs on the bases, but not paying attention to not paying attention when you're on base. It was just the amount of outs that they made on the bases was just silly. And it should have never happened. That percentage should have never happened. And the amount of errors that they made was just mind-boggling. Because they're the Yankees. They should not be making the amount of errors that they should be one of the best teams, offensively and defensively. But they weren't. Their offense was what brought them to the World Series, not their defense. And you've seen it all blow up in Game 7. In Game 5. You saw it all blow up in just one inning. And I blame everyone in that inning because every single one of those plays were playable. That caused an error. That caused a run. Aaron Judge catches the ball, he got out. If I don't give any bad credit to Chisholm and Volpe because that's a tough play at third. I give him that. But Rizzo and Cole not covering, that is unexcusable. But the inning started with Judge not catching a fly out. And that does not look good. That the captain did not play it right. And Garrett Cole worked hard to get out of that inning without giving up a run or more. He worked hard. The team did not help him. His defense failed him. They lose that game because of the defense. Period. And Garrett Cole would have if they would have won game 5. Garrett Cole would have been a hero to be able to go through that inning and then pitch another 2 innings to save the bullpen. He would have been a hero. If they would have won that game and won the series, he would have been the MVP, period. I'm giving pitching stats. I personally think, yes, Soto was great, Trinkerl was great, but in that game, if they would have won game 5 at home, Garrett Cole should have been the MVP, period. It's just he kept them in the game. He pitched more than he had to just to make sure that the bullpen was not overused in that game. And that is what breaks my heart for Garrett Cole, because he worked so hard in that game to keep them in, and they weren't able to get it. And that's the heartbreaker when you lose when your ace is on the mound. Those are games you should be winning. And they haven't been able to do that for Garrett Cole throughout his tenure. It was in the playoffs. And it's heartbreaking because we paid this guy 300 plus million and we haven't been able to give him a championship or give him a ring or all he has gone. He has definitely played. He played his probably one of the best seasons last season, his Cy Young year. And that year we didn't even make the playoffs. And he still pitched great for us. And I just feel for the guy so much more than the rest of the team. Because he pitched his heart out. He got them to the point that they could have still won that game. And the team just did not able to keep them in the game. And they lost. And that was heartbreaking. But I am looking forward to the new season. I'm looking forward to the tandem of Cole and Fried. I'm looking to see those two combo. Actually, I want to see who's going to be who's going to be the first 2 opening starters. That's going to be interesting. And I actually want to see where Lewis Hill ends up on the start because he is a phenom. As long as he keeps his control, he'll be probably another close to as best season as he did this season. And then you see Clarkson even getting better as he's getting more years as a starter. And Rodon finally having a bounce back year after his horrendous first year in pinstripes. And right now, I am looking forward to seeing the condom of Devin Williams and Luke Weaver. And just seeing the two of them perform right after each other. Because that is something to watch. See Weaver, who came from being a waiver released from multiple teams, to being the closer for the Yankees, being the guy who I could say the Yankees hands down shows that if Boone would put anyone in throughout the whole playoff run, Weaver was their 9th inning guy. Weaver was the guy to shut it down. Not Clay Holmes. Luke Weaver. Luke Weaver took the bullpen on his back and got the Yankees to where they were when Clay Holmes was not able to. When Clay Holmes struggled throughout the whole season. And that says a lot for this kid to take the city on his back and be the closer. And that was amazing to watch his growth and to see him contribute to that. And to see him really enjoy it and really take all the emotions and use it as fuel. And now to see Devin Williams be this veteran presence to help him even be better, have that relationship to even be better than he was last year. I'm just excited for this season. But I actually want to figure out how's the lineup gonna go. Is it Dominguez or Volpe who starts at the lead off? I would personally do Dominguez just because he has a high. I have a better. I feel better with a left-hander starting because most pitchers are right-handed, and Dominguez's side is better left-handed. His swing is better left-handed than right-handed, and he would be right in front of Judge, and that makes sure that Judge gets at least in some cases have a hitter right in front of him on base, and Judge will get pitches. But I think it also has to do with now that they do have lefties in their lineup, they could do righty lefty, which they haven't been able to do for years. Been missing a lefty present in their lineup for years. They've not been able to cash in on righty on a lefty hitter for years since probably in reality, or at least switch hitter since it's a share era in 2016, really, to have that. And yes, they did strike gold with Matt Carpenter a few years ago, but he's not the answer. Now they actually have players who could be the answer, with a Chas Chisholm, with a Cody Bellinger, with Austin Wells, if he has even better season after his rookie, because he was brilliant last season. Once he got off of his slow start, and once he was a starter, he was brilliant. And then Oswaldo Cabrera, who's their bench player, bench or third baseman at this point, we don't know, who's a switch hitter who has a better left hand swing. Samuel Dominguez, left hand swing. Switch hitter has a great left hand swing. You have so many more diversity in the lineup that doesn't allow the pitcher now to pitch a certain way to every player. The pitcher has to change. They can't just throw the same pitch to each guy because it's not the same way to get out. You could throw some more pitches to Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton to get them out, but you can't throw some more pitches to saying Aaron Judge and Chas Chisholm. They're not going to chase at the same pitches, and they're two different type of hitters. So now pitchers actually can't just depend on certain pitches because they're all depending on inside or outside plate or up and in against right-handers. Now they have to change up their mix because they're not going straight against a whole group of right-handers, which in most times in the Yankees, they were mostly swing or hit miss guys. Say the truth. Most of the guys are swing or miss on the right-handed throughout the past few years with the Yankees. Who and Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. They were swing or miss. They were power hitters who got a lot of strikeouts. Aaron Judge recently got into doing average and getting better at his fundamentals. But now you see more of a different, like even the younger players. Anthony Volpe changed his swing like 4 times last season. And he finally found it again in the playoffs. It was heartbreaking that we weren't able to see the difference because we lost in Game 5. And the same with John Carlson. He found his swing late in the season and was able to go be hot through the whole playoff run. And Aaron Judge found his swing late in the playoffs, but was not able to capitalize. And every player has hot and cold streaks throughout the season. There's never gonna be a full high or a full low throughout the whole year. So to see the difference in swing patterns from the Anthony Volpe period, because he changes swing patterns multiple times throughout the season. Same adapt, change was great to see that even when his offense was a little bit static, his defense was still there. And the same thing with Austin Wells. His defense was there in the beginning of the season, even though his offense was a little bit slow. But once he got to the point of he was starting and getting at bats every day, something clicked. And then towards the postseason, he got tired. Just say the truth, he got tired. And he was exhausted, and you could see it. And it's just the way that swing patterns change throughout the season depends on anything. And I'm just excited to see like how they're gonna change this season because maybe Aaron just did not start off good last season. If everybody remembers, he didn't have a home run for the first month or so, and people were saying he's washed up. He's he's not gonna be MVP. He's not. There's something wrong with him. He's not healthy. And then he ends up becoming MVP again, having a brilliant season. So I don't take anything from spring training seriously, really, until probably May, because by May we'll be able to figure out who still needs adjustment and who's not. And Aaron Judge is gonna hit, so I'm not gonna ever say he's done or he's struggling. There are times that he has struggled throughout the season. Definitely the end of the season, he struggled during a certain point. Then he hit that big grand slam against the Red Sox, and he was back to himself, back to hitting. But you have players throughout the first spring training go into the season who struggle, and that's perfectly okay because there's a big adjustment from spring training to games every day because most players are not playing the 9 innings of spring training. They're playing an inning or the ones who are getting the most work are probably the pitchers more than the hitters, and more than the position players. So a pitcher more likely would be more prepared for facing hitters than hitters facing pitchers because they're getting more work in a game setup, either a stimulated game, spring training game, or interleague game to get to the point that they have to be pitching at a certain amount or pitching 5 innings, 6 innings, whatever, to start off the season. And then as the season goes on, they go 7 innings or more, depending on the type of pitcher. But hitters take a longer time because they have so much more things they have to focus on. Swing patterns, on their body, um, if the stance is different. Are they is their stance changing? Their swing patterns. Do they have to have different bat? It has so many different things that deals with hitting now that people track that could change someone's full capacity of being Aaron Judge, for example. He was full power hitter his first few years, and now he is a power and an average guy. He works to get to be a contact hitter. And because he works to be a contact hitter, just because of how strong he is, he's able to hit bombs out of the stadium on a line drive just because of the amount of power he has. But he worked to be a contact hitter because his first few years, his average is horrible. He was he had a decent average, but it wasn't great. So now that you have Aaron Judge, who literally is one of the best players in the baseball, want to be better at everything that he isn't, or works on something different each spring training. I think last year was base running. The year before it was contact. And he usually sets himself a goal for the upcoming season. And that's amazing to see that even the captain wants to make sure he makes the team better with whatever he's doing. Because he doesn't want to stay the same each season. He wants to get better. And by getting better, he makes the team better. And he also shows his teammates that even as this veteran guy who he has a spot on the team, he doesn't have to fight for it. That he still works hard to make sure that he is always in shape, that he's staying healthy, that he's able to compete for a championship year after year.